development as part of the development of the Akosombo Dam that was built, commenced construction 60 years ago, and provided electricity for the whole country for many, many years, and we are very proud of that. We hope we'll be around for the next 60 years, playing a similarly vital role in national development, but building on the foundation of the last 60 years. Today, we are privileged to have one of the most distinguished engineers and a foremost public servant here as our guest speaker, Mr. Yao Safo-Mafo, who hasn't come yet. Many of you may not know, started his career as an engineer and went on to have a distinguished career in finance, serving on various ministerial capacities, and now as senior minister to the President of the Republic. We thank him for joining us to help us launch this very special of occasions. We also want to thank Deputy Minister of Energy, standing in for Minister of Energy. He has been with us in our last few commissionings. He was with us in Laura. He was with us this week at the Pong commissioning, and we know he's a very busy man, and so we really appreciate their support, their belief, and their commitment in the VRA. So thank you, Deputy Minister. I also applaud, finally, the efforts of the Planning Committee for the work they have done to date. This is a lovely event, the choir singing beautifully, and we know it's just the beginning of more things to come. So we look forward to the unveiling of the calendar and the events that come after that. So without further ado, I welcome you all to the launch of VRA's 60th anniversary celebrations.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kweku Ando Awoche, board chair of the VRA, for that. And very interesting. I'm sure you feel very special today. 10 years ago, you were here doing 50. 10 years later, you're here doing 60. Well, 10 years later, let's see you doing 70 as well. And let's see how it goes. Distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, the chairperson for our function today, Kweku Ando Awoche. Now, for those of you who speak Gadangme or understand the language, Noyam. Noyam simply means development or moving on. I guess it translates to what we're experiencing today, 60 years on. In the Gadangme language of the people of the Greater Accra region. Now, the Noyam Institute has focused on training, developing, and packaging our unique art forms, resulting in very dazzling dance performances that capture both tradition and modern forms of expression. Founded by the late Professor Ni Yate over 2 decades ago, Noyam is currently under the directorship of Ni Tete Yate. And this morning, they'll do 2 performances. The very first one is coming up pretty shortly. And that one is simply something exciting that you'd like to see. Well, I now welcome the Senior Minister of the Republic of Ghana, Mr. Yao Safo-Mafo, is just joining us as I speak now. He's our special guest of honor for the 60th anniversary launch of the VRA. Mr. Yao Safo-Mafo joins us now. Good morning, sir. Thank you very much for your time and welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, I present Noyam. Thank you very much, Noyam. Shall we give them a round of applause, please, ladies and gentlemen? And at this point, we would like to invite the Chief Executive of VRA, Mr. Emmanuel Entridakwa, to do us the honors of his address. Chief Executive VRA, Mr. Emmanuel Entridakwa now addresses us.
Just making assurance double sure. Mr. Chairman, who is our own board chairman, the senior minister, Engineer Yao Osafo-Mafo, is one of our own. The deputy minister for energy, Mr. Joseph Kujo. District, municipal, and metropolitan chief executives, members of the diplomatic corps, our dear traditional rulers, the board, management, and staff of the Volta River Authority, distinguished invited guests, friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we stand on the threshold of another successful decade of our existence as an authority. Today, we can count nearly 60 years of lighting up homes and adding value to lives. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the story of the Volta River Authority. And so therefore, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the launch of our 60th anniversary celebrations this morning. This launch is the beginning of a series of activities to commemorate our anniversary, which falls on 26th April 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, 60 years in the life of a public utility in our environment, in our view, requires commendation. And so sometimes in our quiet moments, we wonder how we are able to provide utility services given all the challenges that we have in the sector. We believe that a simple answer is our resilience and our can-do spirit. It is this can-do spirit of the Ghanaian, which we are privileged to embody, that sets us apart from our peers in Ghana and also in the international industry in general. We are proud that our operations are carried out by ourselves. We plan, we develop, we execute, and we operate all by ourselves. That is really what sets us apart. Therefore, our theme, which is celebrating 60 years in the power business, our legacy, our future, suggests that not only do we recognize that we have a long track record of achievements, but more importantly, we also intend to continue to be a leader in the power industry in future. Our role in national development is well known. We have been the main provider of electricity to support our economic development here in Ghana and also in the neighboring countries of Togo, Benin, Burkina Faso, and La Côte d'Ivoire. It's significant to note that years ago, we also extended electricity to northern Ghana, and there are also many, many other achievements that I believe time will not allow me to state here. But as we look into the future, it is clear to us that the electricity business will be significantly different. Digitization will be the major enabler of the business. So we are preparing ourselves for the advent of IoT or Internet of Things, AI or artificial intelligence, or any significant technological advance that will manifest in Ghana or in the sub-region. Ladies and gentlemen, we recognize that digitization will compel us to drive down our costs and therefore remain competitive. So we will fully embrace the digitization efforts, which is currently being rolled out by the government, especially under the auspices of His Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana. Secondly, from our perspective as a utility, we see a future for clean, cost-efficient, diversified sources of energy, mainly through solar, wind, and in our case, biomass here in Ghana. What digitization will do is that it will facilitate the integration of these variable sources of power generation for effective operations. More importantly, technology will enable us to better monitor and maintain our generation assets. Mr. Chairman, we in VRA also see a future in the electric vehicle industry. So we intend to be the leader in that space in Ghana. We will therefore collaborate with our younger cousins, GRIDCO, to continue the development of a smart grid in Ghana to serve as a backbone for the digitization efforts. Ladies and gentlemen, we know that we can only be relevant if we develop our employees with new skill sets so that they can be nimble and tech-savvy. Our focus is therefore to build a core of human capital that is fit for the digital age. This is a key component of our BRACE strategy, which will be demonstrated by my colleagues in the course of this function. Ladies and gentlemen, we are pragmatic enough to know that a digital strategy is good. However, making systemic changes to our business and operating model is more important. And that's the journey that we have embarked on. So as a first step, we have commenced the process to convert the Akosombo Township into a smart city. And in doing so, we intend to make it the technology hub of the country. So this is the next 60 years. That's our great plan. We will leverage on the infrastructure and human skill sets that are abundant in the Akosombo area. We have also completed a rooftop solar project at our head office, but only as a precursor to establishing solar parks and rooftop solar facilities in our Akosombo, Aboase, and Akuse enclaves. This is evidence of our new commitment to living in a green environment. But ladies and gentlemen, while we are focused on our long-term plans, we also recognize that we are duty-bound as a state institution to ensure that there is adequate, competitively priced electricity to support industrial and social development in the country today. Consequently, we have embarked on a number of renewable projects to meet the national demand in an environmentally sustainable manner. The 60-megawatt Pualugu multipurpose dam project, which has an additional solar component of 50 megawatts, is a case in point. Further, we are also constructing 17 megawatts Kalio Laura solar plants, while our wind projects at Adan and Angloga are under development. We will also continue to nurse other potential renewable projects on the Uti River, as well as our pipeline of solar projects at Bongo, Wale Wale, and other places. And Mr. Chairman, just as a reminder, just 2 days ago, His Excellency the President commissioned the Pong Generating Station retrofit project in Akuse. We are therefore confident that the Pong Station can reliably deliver 30 more years of clean energy. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, 60 years in the life of an organization is no mean achievement. And I want to use this opportunity to congratulate in advance the entire VRA fraternity. Over the years, VRA, like other utilities in the country, has faced challenges mainly driven by difficulties in the sector. Nevertheless, we have remained resilient and maintained our market leadership. distinguished guests, our resolve to move VRA beyond aid by the government of Ghana. And I'd like to underline that. Our mantra is VRA beyond aid by the government of Ghana. Never again should it be said that we'll go to the government of Ghana with a bowl in our hand and ask for subsidies. We should be able to run our business in a manner that will not require us to do that. And I'm glad to say that since 2017, we haven't been to the Ministry of Finance for any subsidies. And we'll continue to do that, hopefully, for the next 60 years of our existence. What we did was to introduce a prudent financial, What we did was to introduce prudent financial management practices, including the introduction of what we call our Financial Recovery Plan in 2017. This has resulted in the consistent improvement of our year-to-year financial position. And so, even though we are not totally out of the woods yet, we can say we are in a much better place today. And this is important, what I'm going to say next. Our overall aim is to develop VRA into a public institution but which operates with a private sector mindset. And I'd like to underscore that. Our overall aim is to develop VRA into a public institution which operates with a private sector mindset. We know it's a daunting task, but we've started, and we believe we'll be successful. So on this note, I wish to commend the government, past and present executives, our dear retirees, staff, and all other stakeholders for overseeing our successful growth and expansion, making us an international electricity supplier of choice, particularly in the sub-region. As an organization, we have demonstrated that hard work, commitment, and dedication in the last 59 years, has helped with national development. And lest I forget, in these days of COVID-19, I wish to thank the government, the board, management, for ensuring that our staff, our families, and our operations continue to be supported in these times. This has ensured our safety and the safety of our business as VRA. And that's why we continue to deliver power. And that's why, in spite of COVID-19, the lights are still on. And so we'd like to appreciate everybody who's been helpful in that regard. We also appreciate our traditional rulers in our various catchment areas, the municipal and district chief executives, the police, the military, all our stakeholders for their support all these years. Without them, we will not be where we are today. So on this note, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to thank all of you for honoring our invitation to this lunch. I humbly request you to sit back and enjoy the rest of the ceremony. Thank you very much, and may God bless us all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Emmanuel Entry Dakwa, Chief Executive Officer, VRA. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our next performance is by a man and his instrument called the Seprewa, performed at many functions, both locally and abroad. His name, Nana Osei Kranchi, and he comes up now to perform Seprewa. After which, our guest of honor, Senior Minister Yao Osafumafo, would address us. Ladies and gentlemen, Osei Kranchi here. Shall we acknowledge him, please?
Ago Medin kan ye dia ye. Amanyame ansa. Asia ye tie yo adum bi. Akuno ni anintina moshiamu. Samo moya sanam dia sembinam. Ago Oseye Anaya da ponda Anada ya da kasio ana Abra wonyame bo soro ne asase no nananum Abakwasam kira se na wiase ya saka Abra wiase be ye wiase no Eshase abra waka se ehanmra Chazaza di so ayeti kania Edi akontire wa abra boy mu Adi ekutami a me bo amotie yi Deda eye gina kania so Entuma efra mi ne pam nyina gina kania so Aduane ye bedie Nsia ye benom Bibia ye entimi kwati kania ada Enfie be sadue siamuni ana wasaje foto takwa me nkruma Odi agromu me bia kosombo dami Sadi ebenya kania na mani gye samu e wo mun se Canadians bi na ba ya bebo aye efri bra ya ko ya kire no Ghana foa na somu ya mamomani yo mo ni adwuma pa ya mamomani yo mo na ko adwuma no aden So pevin are pa ho asamotia eda dum so no be ya adwuma no kane anya dum ya na ya hya ase emu nsem bia ya mfata nso abiri bia na ya di ya kutam akonkondre amfie aduasi anya adwuma ketwa amfie aduasi anya konto ketwa nananom so ye nipa nka wa retire Amomoni adwuma pa adwuma kwe ya soma me bia so bibi manu biso eyi amamomo entinasa nyankopon wa ya adwuma ma mo di mo mfi aduasi a anase ya pa hontoma dia Ghana nyina kanasa amamomo ani adwuma pa visa ni yehuni Asesanya ba mu bebre Yasrenya me mamo Yasra urade mamo Sabjum pebia mo bezusu ya no Wonyame no ammo Na nchirmenya mfaso na nyanu nyama sha magana man Ame bibi nso aso bibi man so Mone yo Emu ada no fue Driver se wom Cleaners and well offices. The Munina said, Now they can say, Are you call Yamamu money? Pass and then none coming in, say, I will start this year. I chum this year, pan, and I suffer my phone. I engineer. I hear a crowd. Papa money, yo. Chebia ya papa bekasa fisana yegina ya pa huntumen ne ya famu baby ya duro ne dia ya kro anu wa dwen nti ene wa he senya me mamo anyamu pa anka Ghana bebre dun sra waso abrafo Dioni biajae. Abrabo beye da manija be wiase a. Na gina moa musa. Mo money yo. Di am da moasio. Yenim sa fesa na ye be hia. Abeye nijia ayakra behwe. Na no mo e. Dama mo money yo. Money
Ose Crunchy and a Seprewa. Ose Crunchy wa sumonibi. Mo, nimo. Distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, before the senior minister speaks, we'll take remarks from the sector ministry, represented here this morning by Deputy Minister Joseph Kujo. Please, shall we welcome the Deputy Energy Minister, Joseph Kujo.
Good morning to you all. I'm representing my minister, who would have really loved to be here, but for an equally important assignment, is unable to be here with you. Mr. Chairman, Honorable Senior Minister, Mr. Yawsaf Mafo, traditional leaders present, board members, management and staff of VRA, members of the diplomatic corps, distinguished invited guests, friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen. It is a delight and pleasure to be part of this special occasion, which will officially set in motion a series of activities that will herald the historic 60th anniversary celebration of the Volta River Authority. As the sector minister, and let me remind you, it is my minister reading this. As the sector minister, let me be the first to wish you a happy 60th anniversary in advance. I also wish to express, on behalf of my ministry, our profound gratitude to the board of directors, management, staff, and stakeholders for holding the VRA brand in high esteem without drifting away from the vision of the founding architects. The theme for your Diamond Jubilee, which is celebrating 60 years in the power business, our legacy, our future, speaks volumes of your accomplishments in the power subsector. And you could not have chosen a better theme than this. For almost 60 years since its establishment, VRA has been the forerunner in power generation and has been the pivotal platform around which our industrialization and economic development as a country have evolved. You would agree with me that, without exaggerating, for about 60 years, thousands of jobs in the formal and informal sectors have been created out of VRA's ability to supply reliable power to consumers. Government clearly understands that the rate of economic growth and job creation is directly related to the work of the VRA and, by extension, its sister power utility companies involved in the electricity value chain in the country. It is obvious that the government one district, one factory agenda cannot thrive without the provision of reliable power supply. Neither would other critical programs, including virtual working, e-learning, and the like, especially in the era of COVID-19. Honorable Senior Minister, Mr. Chairman, Nananom, distinguished invited guests, I am particularly happy that in this era of increasing competition in the power subsector and the proliferation of modern engineering technologies, VRA continues to justify its existence through quality service delivery. The authority has been very successful and deserves to be commended for many of its achievements with its dedicated workforce over the past years. These sterling accomplishments give us assurances that indeed the future is even brighter than we can imagine. Going into the future, let us avoid complacency and promote hard work. It is imperative to look into the past to learn from the lessons of history to guide us through and ensure that we do not stray from the path of progress into the future. Honorable Senior Minister, Mr. Chairman, the years ahead may bring their own challenges when it comes to electricity generation, transmission, and distribution with our growing economy. But even in the midst of that, we have absolute certainty, without a shadow of doubt, that VRA, with its support from sister utility organizations, will be up to the task and prefer simple but effective solutions. I sincerely thank the President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, for the confidence reposed in me to have appointed me as the Minister of Energy, which has given me the opportunity to be associated with a vibrant organization like the VRA. I want to place on record as the Minister of Energy that the President's keen interest and support for the energy sector has given me the impetus to steer the policy direction of the sector, which has rendered it capable of supporting the economy. The VRA is undeniably a giant in the sector, and this is evidenced by the many projects the authority has rolled out in both the traditional and renewable energy space, like the Pualugu Multipurpose Dam Project, the Kalio Laura Solar Project, the most recently commissioned Pong Generating Station Retrofit Project, among others. In concluding, I pray to God to grant you all, board, management, and staff, the gift of life, strength, and good insight to enable you chalk more milestones and more successes in the years ahead. Thank you, and God bless us all. Happy anniversary.
Thank you very much, Mr. Joseph Kujo, Deputy Energy Minister, representing the Minister for Energy. Distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, we mentioned earlier that the Senior Minister, Mr. Yaw Safo-Mafo, will join us. At this point, I'd like to invite Mrs. Senna Donu to do us the honors of a quick introduction of the Senior Minister, Yaw Safo-Mafo. Please welcome Senna as she joins us on stage.
Mr. Chairman, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege today to introduce to you our special guest of honor for today's event. He's an engineer by profession and a fellow of the Ghana Institute of Engineers. He successfully branched into banking and finance and led the restructuring of two major Ghanaian development banks, the Bank of Housing and Construction and the National Investment Bank from 1979 to 1992. From 1997 to 2009, he was a member of Parliament for the Achim Oda constituency and was the Minister of Finance and Economic Planning from 2001 to 2005. During his tenure, he oversaw the dramatic turnaround of Ghana's economy and was adjudged the best finance minister in Africa by The Banker magazine. From 2005 to 2006, he served as the Minister of Education and Sports, and it was during this time that distance education for teachers was institutionalized, and the senior national soccer team of Ghana, the Black Stars, qualified for the first time in history to the 2006 World Cup in Germany. He represented the Ghana Institute of Engineers at the Consultative Assembly, which drafted the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. He was the founding deputy chairman of the Ghana Stock Exchange Council, past president of the executive committee of the West African Bankers Association. He currently is the senior minister of the government of His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and serves on various corporate boards and government committees, which time will not allow us to enumerate. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, please join me to welcome to the podium the Honorable Senior Minister, Engineer Yao Osafo-Mafu.
Mrs. Senna, thank you very much for that generous introduction. Deputy Minister for Energy, members of the Diplomatic Corps, our distinguished traditional leaders, the Chairman of the Board of VRA, the Chief Executive of VRA, Chief Executives of various institutions here with us, management and staff of VRA, friends from the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I wish to express my great pleasure at the opportunity to join the Volta River Authority to launch officially its 60th anniversary celebration, the climax of which will be on the 26th of April 2021, the date it was formally established. Indeed, I am privileged to have witnessed in my lifetime a near 60-year journey of growth and leadership in the power industry provided by the Volta River Authority, the foremost and premier power producer. As a professional engineer, my joy knows no bounds of performing this function today. When you talk about VRA, the institution that comes to mind is VALCO. For the master agreement, which joins and which made this project possible, also give birth to VALCO as a condition for the establishment of VRA. Because the investment, the Americans who were giving the money, wanted a major taker of power so that they can be sure of the payment of the loan. And that was the birth of VALCO. I started my engineering profession by working at VALCO as a process and quality control engineer. So I've been reasonably close also to VRA from VALCO angle. Secondly, between 1961 and 70, anybody who studied any branch of engineering in Kwame Nkrumah University visited VRA as part of the course. And therefore, we are very privileged to be part. VRA, Aiko. The Volta River Authority over the past few decades has demonstrated the strength of its resilience in operation and engineering practice, while complying with best industry practices. They have shown beyond the boundaries of Ghana that they are a first-class engineering firm and a first-class management firm. And as the chief executive mentioned, it is one institution which is public but operates with a private sector mindset. If you visit VRA, it is obvious. they don't operate like the typical public service institution. Not at all. VRA operates with a mindset of public sector. And that's what we would wish, that many public establishments go the VRA way. Public sector, but private sector mindset. Ladies and gentlemen, I take the cognizance of the fact that today's launch of VRA's 60th anniversary does not simply characterize the beginning of the celebrations alone, but affords the management and staff the opportunity to re-evaluate their journey, looking back to their past, a well-defined present, and a hopeful future with prospects. I would want the management to ask the simple question: what will VRA look like 25 years from now? That is the way in the technical world to also be abreast with technology. Because VRA, as established almost 60 years ago, technology has changed and continues to change. And therefore, if you ask that simple question, you will find out that you will have a lot to do. The theme for the anniversary is thus a direct reflection of this journey, celebrating 60 years in the power business, our legacy, our future. Our legacy, our future. Your legacy simply is good, is shining. The future is unknown. And I want you to use your engineering glasses to make it known. Because engineering is a subject that can be forecast because technology moves and you should move with it. At the turn of the century, the coming generation must remember VRA for the contributions it has made in lighting up Ghana's economy through power generation. Chairman, the Volta River Authority has undoubtedly been the first in a number of key milestones in the power sector. In the first place, the authority developed and continues to manage the Akosombo 1961 and Kong 1982 hydropower generating plants, which are key to the provisions of renewable power in the country. Secondly, the VRA developed and implemented through some innovative engineering the extension of power from Kumasi to the northern parts of the country in 1989. This singular project has opened up the entire country and has formed the basis of our economic growth in the northern regions of our land. Congratulations, VRA. Thirdly, VRA developed the first thermal power plant in the country to complement hydro generation and also ensure the reliability of power in the country. Fourthly, you have sustained the export of power to our neighboring countries, Togo, Benin, La Côte d'Ivoire, and Burkina Faso, for almost 50 years. And therefore, our influence in ECOWAS has some unseen hand. And that hand is, if we are providing power to 4 of our neighbors, naturally, we will exert influence. Congratulations, VRA. Mr. Chairman, on a personal note, I'm impressed with your culture of excellence in engineering practice, which should be an example for other institutions. I keep on visiting VRA just to see engineering at work. And anytime you go there, you appreciate engineering. And VRA has always been one of the institutions most heads of state who visit Ghana are taken to see. And anytime they come out of VRA, their surprise is that the whole complicated, well laid out engineering is manned solely by Ghanaians. Everybody talks about it after they visited. I brought Mr. Miracle, the head of Africa from the World Bank, to visit VRA. And he could not believe, this was in 2001, he could not believe that the whole thing was manned and managed from A to Z by Ghanaians. And he said in his own country, I won't mention it, they need Germans to keep their hydro plant running. We don't. Congratulations, VRA. They have ongoing 2.5 megawatts Navrongo solar facility. They have 17 megawatts Kaliolora solar facility, which the MD talked about. And they continue to develop these. And I think, congratulations, you are still not being what the Germans would call fuck idiot, not being a super expert, not only be hydro-minded, but you are looking at other sources of producing power. Congratulations. We were all witnesses to the 4 years of doomsday prior to the coming into office of the NPP administration. The doomsday brought in its wake panic reaction from the then government, which went into signing a lot of power purchase agreements with independent power producers, IPPs. This resulted in installed capacity of 5,083 megawatts according to the Energy Commission, when Ghana's peak demand for electricity is about 2,700 megawatts. Of the total installed capacity of 2,300 megawatts has been contracted on a take-or-pay basis. 2,300 megawatts has been contracted in agreements on a take-or-pay basis. The net effect is that government has had to pay over $500 million annually for power generation capacity it does not need. $500 for power generation capacity it does not need. It is my hope, and I'm calling on VRA because a special assignment, that the VRA with their rich experience will explore the export market to reduce the burden of this overcapacity for the government. And since they've already attracted the capacity to export to our neighbors, now we have excess capacity. Please increase the export ability of yours to make sure that our take and pay burden is reduced. Mr. Chairman, on assumption of power, the government of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo established the Energy Sector Recovery Program to bring energy sector into balance by the end of 2023. Under my chairmanship of the Ministerial Task Force supervising the Energy Sector Recovery Program, several successes have been chalked. They include, but not limited to, the following. 1, establishment of the cash waterfall mechanism, which ensures weekly sharing of tariff revenue among players in the electricity value chain, thus improving liquidity in the whole sector. The cash waterfall mechanism, which has been hailed by the sector players, is to be extended to cover the gas sector revenue, with establishment of the natural gas clearinghouse mechanism, which we are working on now. Government has cleared about 2.6 billion MDA bills arrears since 2016. In addition, government has a credit balance of 500 million US cedis in respect of MDA bills. Government has instituted a least cost fuel procurement strategy to ensure there is value for money in procuring fuel for the power while plants converted from using liquid fuel gas. Government is addressing excess take-or-pay generation capacity payments, and negotiations are still ongoing involving the Minister of Finance, Minister of Energy, an agreement that will secure a cost saving of up to $3 billion during the lifetime of these projects. Relocation of car power ship to Takoradi to achieve full conversion of engines for the utilization of natural gas instead of HFO. The gas base is in Takoradi, and we have this in Tema using the HFO. Now we can say with confidence and with joy that Car Power ship is in Takoradi and is using gas. GMPC is also in talks with Sankofa to reduce their gas prices by as much as close to 15%, from 9.59 MMBTU dollars to 8.23 MMBTU. This will significantly reduce the sector cost of power. Improved performance of distribution companies, which is currently underway. Adoption of a funding plan to cover energy sector financial gap. The Ministry of Finance is currently exploring ways to fund this sector gap. Mr. Chairman, government is still pursuing other policies in terms of restructuring and regulation in the energy sector to ensure that the sector comes to balance in 2023. You cannot talk about any economy when you don't have a well-structured power source. The whole economy, no matter which country, depends on power. And therefore, you need to pay attention to streamlining these things related to power. Let me reiterate that today's launch of VRA's 60th anniversary is very well earned, and I have no doubt that the activities and events slated between now and 26 April 2021, when the authority attains 60 years, will be impactful in the larger public interest. And I think you will not be blowing your horn if you emphasize that quality of management you have and that quality of engineering expertise you exhibit in running the VRA. Ladies and gentlemen, public sector institutions are set up to provide service that is largely in the interest of the public. The history of the management of our public services and also public institutions leaves a lot to be desired. Most of the state institutions that were set up on the event of independence are either find it difficult to survive or no longer exist. There have been a myriad of reasons advanced for their failure. It will be worthwhile for us to find out why the Volta River Authority has survived and also remains relevant and dominant today in terms of management. It may be due to the management practices which has now become cultural. They are just good. Mr. Chairman, I must earnestly laud the efforts of the board under the chairmanship of Mr. Kweku and Aoche, the chief executive, Engineer Emmanuel Nchidakwa, and the management and staff of the VRA for the transformational strategies that have ushered VRA into a new age, and that has made VRA a special institution in the public sector operating with a private sector mindset, which have enhanced the reliability of power supply in our country. It is my duty to also appreciate the traditional rulers in the various localities where VRA operates across the country for coexisting peacefully with the authority for the past 60 years. Nananum edamas papa. Sometimes you'll be managing everything very well, and your landlords begin to give you trouble. And that can be a major headache. VRA has not had this problem. It's all part of their manual dexterity in the management, that they are even managing their traditional areas reasonably well. Congratulations. Today, I encourage employees of the authority to continue to develop their skills and grow their experience to support the power sector initiative, as well as strengthen the VRA brand for the next 60 years and beyond. You have indeed made Ghana proud from many angles, and I wish you could have a special day to exhibit all the different levels of visitors who have had the chance of visiting VRA, particularly the heads of state and head of international organizations. and the subtype of comments they left in the visitors book. That will go a long way for people to see what external people think of you. Ladies and gentlemen, at this juncture, I have the utmost pleasure to declare the 60th anniversary celebration of the Volta River Authority duly launched. God bless our homeland Ghana and make our nation great and strong. Thank you, Aiko VRA.
Thank you very much, Senior Minister Yao Safo Mafo, duly declaring the 60th anniversary launched. Congratulations to VRA, celebrating 60 years in the power business, our legacy, our future. So the unveiling of the anniversary logo and cloth, I believe, is about now. So the screens will show it now. And so what you see on your screens, well, the 60th anniversary cloth of VRA is what you see on your screens. And we've duly launched the anniversary from now till the 26th of April, 2021. Shall we give ourselves a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? I'd like at this point to invite Dr. Mrs. Stella Ajeni Boateng to give us highlights of the 60th anniversary, after which I'll invite Noyam to come and give us a very quick rendition of a traditional dance piece they've titled, Let There Be Light. After that, we'll have the anniversary anthem before the vote of thanks, chairman's closing remarks, closing prayer, and we will be done. Stella is here now. Welcome. Bye.
Mr. Chairman, Honorable Senior Minister, I want to stand on existing protocols to just announce to you, our delighted audience, the highlights of some of the activities slated for our anniversary between now and the end of April, specifically 26th of April 2021. So these are some of the activities and events for which we shall invite you once again. So as part of the anniversary, we are going to have what we call the VRA Power Drones. This is an activity or an event that is going to donate medical supplies and educational materials to selected facilities in our catchment areas using the power drones. We are innovative, we are a technology institution. We also have built an ultra-modern office complex in Akuse, one of our areas. And during this anniversary period, we are going to give a name to this ultra-multi complex. And employees are actually competing to see whose name or whose, selected catchy phrase is going to be the name for this complex. Another activity will be the sponsorship package for 60 needy youth in our catchment communities to learn a trade through a structured apprenticeship program. We are 60 years old, and even though we always support the brilliant and the needy students in our areas, this time around, we are going to put them in apprenticeship programs where they are going to learn a trade, and 60 of them are going to be selected. So Nananum, we will come back to you, and then together you will give us those who will need that support. Again, we are going to organize free medical screening in all our catchment areas, Akosombo, Akuse, Abuaze, and all the others. During the Christmas festivities, we believe that it is a time to share it is a time where we need to fraternize with the aged, with children, with widows, with widowers, and with the vulnerable in our catchment areas. And so we are going to fetch them during the festivities this coming Christmas. We also plan to have a choral musical concert that is going to be fun, entertaining, and we all have to have our dancing shoes on to celebrate the 60 years of our existence. For the employees, as we get involved in serving our communities, we also want to have some fun as part of the celebration. We have been applauded, we've been lauded for good job done. It's a time to do what we call the super duper 60s. The super duper 60s is where employees are going to have the opportunity to fashion, dress up like in the 60s. And we are going to get awards for all that. And so employees, I'm just giving you the hint, start looking into your closets or into the closets of your parents if you are that young. Again, we are going to pretend as employees on a particular day, we are going to pretend to be the chief executive. So each one of us will pretend to be a chief executive, and there is something in VRA we call the 005. That is a special name given to any circular that is issued by our chief executive. On that special day, each one of us will issue an 005 on a topical business issue. And we will let our chief executive, Engineer Nchidakwa, know what the employees are thinking on business topical issues. Again, employees, we have decided to provide volunteer services. And so we will go into our catchment areas during this period, teach in the classrooms, clean the hospitals, do anything that will make our communities feel us the more. There will be the anniversary derby, a grand one, and there will be the anniversary dinner, dance, and awards night. Emphasis on dance. And finally, we will crown it with a Thanksgiving service. In all this, Mr. Chairman, we would want to believe that everybody who is gathered here, and many more, will join us to celebrate. And as you do that, between now and then, one thing we ask is your prayers, your presence at all the events, and a pat on our backs so we will continue to serve you better. Thank you all, and God bless us all.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mrs. Stella Ajini-Boateng. Ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned earlier, Noyam is ready with a rendition titled, Let There Be Light. Let There Be Light. I guess that is primarily the job of VRA, showing light. After which, I'm sure we'll be ready for the anniversary anthem. For now, please welcome Noyam.
Let me tell you a story. A story about our ancestral land that gained her independence first on the African continent. But to be poised for development and to be poised for greatness, she needed power. She needed power so that doctors wouldn't have to operate on patients in the dark. She needed power. She needed power so that children would not have to learn in the dark. She needed power. She needed power so that industries could expand their capacity. So in 1961, Ghana, through the Volta River Authority, said, "Let there be light." been 60 years, and as we look to the future of Ghana, we know this land is going to be built by Ghanaians, and we know the power to build Ghana is going to be from VRA.
Shall we give them a bigger round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? Noyam showing us truthfully what the power of having power does. 6 months from today will be sometime in April 2021. And on the 26th of April 2021, VRA would officially be 60 years old. They have an anniversary anthem, and they'll render it right now. Shall we have it now, please?
Riding on
Like diamonds indeed. So that's the anniversary anthem. I'm sure we'll hear some more of it. Whilst I take the opportunity at this point to invite the chairman for this function, who's also the board chair of VRA, Mr. Kweku Ando Awotri, to give us his closing remarks. Shall we welcome him, please, ladies and gentlemen?
I think you'll agree with me that between the cultural display and the anthem, they reminded us of the celebration of the things that we are celebrating and the things to come over the next 6 months as we get ready to launch. Reminding us of the things to celebrate, the things that today we might take for granted, that light provides education, light provides healthcare, light provides the support of small and large industries, and to do that well is a key and foundation of our economic development. And the anthem also reminded us that this is our 60th anniversary, and our aspiration and pursuit for excellence is undiminished. I want to thank both Senior Minister and Deputy Minister for the support from government and the reminder of our history. I'm sure that we will continue to enjoy that support. And we talked about the future. And Chief Executive reminded us that the future is changing. And Senior Minister also reminded us of the same: digitalization, artificial intelligence, electric vehicles. We want to believe we are going to be ready for that, and we will play our role. And so these are the things that we look forward to. These are the things that we celebrate, and we hope that you join us for many of these events that our Director of Human Resources shared with us. It's also about joining and sharing with the community, appreciating our leaders, our traditional leaders in particular, and this journey that we've been on and the journey we intend to take. So we thank you again, and we look forward to seeing you over the next 6 months.
Thank you very much, Mr. Awotri. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, when we finally wrap up, I'll respectfully ask that we all continue to remain seated. Ushers will come around and usher you out properly. We have a reason why we are doing it. Apart from COVID-19 protocols, there's also some protocols that we'd like to observe with our distinguished invited guest, and would appreciate it if you just remain seated until your ushers get to you and usher you to wherever it is that we would like for you to be. I'd like to invite Mrs. Jane Kumi to do us the honors of the vote of thanks, and then we'll have the closing prayer before we go. Yes, Jane.
Indeed, I wish we would go on and on and on. It's been a wonderful day. We thank God. The first person we thank is God, because we prayed at the beginning and He's seen us through. We also want to thank our chairman, who's also our board chairman, for being here with us today. Our special guest of honor, Honorable Yao Osafo Mafo, also the senior minister. Papa, we are grateful. Our Deputy Minister of Energy, ministers and members of parliament here gathered. We also thank the members of the diplomatic corps who are here with us. We thank Nananom Yadamwasiu, Nyamishramo, heads of various agencies, sister utility companies, the CEOs here gathered. We thank the past chairman of the VRA board and the current members who are also here with us, our chief executive, past VRA chief executives. We thank the current executive and the management team of VRA who are here, gracing the occasion. We thank the various chief directors. Thank you so much for being here with us. We also thank our districts and municipal assemblies, Our service providers, we couldn't have done it without you. The media, our friends from the media, always with us, always present. We are grateful. Our various performers, the choir, Noyam, the poets, you've done an amazing job. Our colleagues, VRA staff, and our Retirees Association, you're here with us. You've been part of the VRA story, and you'll continue to be part of the VRA story. We are grateful to you. And of course, the various anniversary planning committees and all distinguished ladies and gentlemen here gathered. We are grateful to all of you. This is just the beginning of the journey. We thank you for coming, and we'll see you again. 60 years, we will do it again. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Kumi. Now, ladies and gentlemen, before we do the closing prayer, I'd like to have your attention. Just a few pointers before we go. As I mentioned earlier, kindly remain seated. The ushers will come around and usher you out properly. Please remain seated when we are done after the closing prayer. The ushers will come around and usher you out properly. And then the choir, the media, and the cultural troupe will congregate at Ridge Church. Please take note. The choir, the media, and Noyam would congregate at Ridge Church right after this. We'd like to thank UTV, GTV, Joy News, and TV3 for covering this event live. The choir also says, for those of us who may be interested in any of their songs, they actually have an album already. And so if you go to where the choir is, I'm sure you can negotiate for a little power and pick up one of their albums for your own enjoyment from now till whenever it is or how long it is that it will last. So I'd like to invite Mr. Clement Boachi to do the closing prayer, after which we'll go to the choir, and then whilst you remain seated, the ushers will come and usher you out. Thank you all very much for being part of this launch, and let's see how it rolls out in the next 6 months. Thank you very much.
I'll briefly read Revelations 22, which depicts VRA, our legacy, our future. And he showed me a pure river of water of life, clear as crystal, proceeding from the throne of God and on the Lamb. The river had two sources, the throne of God and the Lamb. VRA has two major sources, the white Volta, the black Volta. In the middle of each street and on either side of the river was the tree of life, which bore 12 fruits, each tree yielding its fruit every month. The leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations. In the middle of the river, we have the Akosombo Dam. There are several trees on the side of the river, each tree bearing fruit. VRA is tied to several units. There are thermal units, there are hydro units, there are other units, and the leaves of the trees are for the healing of the nations. That has been our legacy. For our future, I'll jump to verse 5. It says, there shall be no night there. They need no lamp nor light of the sun, for the Lord gives them light, and they shall reign forever and ever. We thank God for how far he has brought us over the years. We thank him. There were critical times that we held prayer meetings for VRA. He heard our prayer. There was a time the water level was low in Akosombo. We prayed, the water rose up. So we thank him for how far he has brought us on this journey. As he has said, we shall reign forever and ever. And so we commit the organization, all of us here, into the hands of God. May he take us back safely to our destinations, but may we continue to reign forever and ever. In Jesus' name we have prayed. Amen.
Come this nation to industrialize, diversifying our business portfolio. I go to thermal, solar and wind, riding on the back of competent staff, systems and anomalies. Build, nurture and develop human capital, diligently restore our finances, bring dynamism into business processes, sustain energy market leadership, riding on the back of competent staff, systems and core values. Like diamonds, crystal colors, like diamonds, we are gods for excellence. Like diamonds, we are priceless. Our diamond jubilee. Like diamonds, crystal colors, like diamonds, we are gods for excellence. Like diamonds, we are priceless. Our diamond jubilee. Living the mandates in a generation, powering the nation to industrialize, diversifying our business portfolio. I go to them on solar and wind, riding on the back of competent staff, systems and core values. Build, nurture and develop human capital, diligently restore our finances, bring dynamism into business processes, sustain energy market leadership, riding on the back of competent staff, systems and core values. Like diamonds, crystal colors, like diamonds, we are gods for excellence. Like diamonds, we are priceless. Our diamond jubilee. Like diamonds, crystal colors, like diamonds, we are gods for excellence. Like diamonds, we are priceless. Our diamond jubilee. Like diamonds, crystal colors, like diamonds, we are gods for excellence. Like diamonds, we are priceless. Our diamond Asida sewu yera yesi ohinimu, enunyanga suru eja ni opano. Asida sewu yere, aye sewu eje, etuntun sewu suru eja ni opano. Asida sewu yere, aye sewu eje, etuntun sewu suru eja ni opano. Asida sewu yera yesi ohinimu, enunyanga suru eja ni opano. Asida sewu